showtime! For David Benavidez versus... Even here's going to be good, gentlemen.
World Championship fight, expect a World Championship effort.
Receive my instructions in the dressing room. You both know what I expect. This is the end of Showtime Championship Boxing. Please end it with class. Touch gloves, good luck to both of you.
Got my instructions in the back. Protect yourselves at all times. Listen,
Actually, two of them left.
the Mexican monster, David Benavidez.
David Benavidez and David Morrell Jr. are heading toward what could be the most explosive showdown of their careers, a fight charged with personal animosity, professional stakes, and an undeniable sense of inevitability. For weeks, tensions have been brewing between these two warriors, fueled by sharp words, heated exchanges, and a mutual refusal to concede an inch. Now, the moment of truth has arrived. This Saturday night, under the bright lights of Las Vegas, these two powerhouses will step into the ring to determine once and for all who truly reigns supreme. Benavidez, an undefeated wrecking machine with a record of 29-0, including 24 knockouts, has built a reputation as one of the most relentless and dangerous fighters in the sport today. His path to dominance has been paved with statement victories over some of the biggest names in the division, including former champions Caleb Plant, Demetrius Andrade, and David Lemieux. Each of these fights showcased his signature combination of ruthless pressure, precise punching, and an unwavering will to win. But this fight is different. This is not just about keeping his undefeated record intact, this is about legacy. For Benavidez, this bout represents a defining moment in his career, a chance to silence the doubters who question whether he has truly been tested at the highest level. He is not just fighting for a belt or a payday, he is fighting to prove that he is the best in the world. My brother has way more experience than this guy, way more strength. I just feel like, you know, it's just hype. This guy has his hype, and you can see he's scared and all that. On the opposite side stands David Morrell Jr., a Cuban sensation who has taken the boxing world by storm. Despite having only 9 professional fights, he has already secured the WBA regular light heavyweight title and carved out a reputation as one of the sport's most skilled and dangerous rising stars. His blend of speed, power, and technical mastery makes him a nightmare for any opponent. Unlike many prospects who take years to develop before stepping up to the elite level, Morrell has thrown himself into the deep end, seeking out the toughest challenges to prove his worth. For Morrell, this fight is more than just another test, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to leapfrog the competition and establish himself as a dominant force in boxing. He has heard the whispers, the doubts, and the skepticism about whether he belongs in the ring with a fighter as seasoned and battle-tested as Benavidez. But he does not just want to prove he belongs, he wants to take over. They haven't fought somebody like me. At the end of the day, he's never fought anybody like me, and I'm going to show everybody that there's levels to this. I'm not playing when I say I'm going to break his mouth, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. The animosity between these two fighters has been escalating with each passing day. Benavidez has dismissed Morrell as overhyped and underprepared, while Morrell has fired back, vowing to expose his opponent's weaknesses and dismantle him in the ring. Their pre-fight press conference was a powder keg of emotions, with both men exchanging verbal jabs and promising destruction. When they faced off, the intensity was palpable, with neither fighter breaking eye contact as the air between them crackled with anticipation. In terms of fighting styles, this matchup presents a fascinating clash of approaches. Benavidez is a relentless pressure fighter, an offensive juggernaut who overwhelms his opponents with an endless barrage of punches. His ability to walk through shots, cut off the ring, and impose his will makes him a nightmare for any boxer who lacks the stamina or power to keep him at bay. Morrell, however, brings a different kind of threat. A highly skilled technician with the ability to switch gears effortlessly, he combines speed with pinpoint accuracy. He is a counterpuncher by nature, someone who thrives on making his opponents pay for their mistakes. If Benavidez recklessly marches forward without caution, Morrell has the tools to make him regret it. But if Morrell cannot match the relentless pace that Benavidez sets, this fight could quickly turn into a one-sided beatdown. Beyond the personal animosity, the outcome of this fight carries major implications for the future of the division. A victory for Benavidez could set him up for blockbuster fights against light heavyweight champions like Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, fights that could elevate him from being a dominant champion to a global superstar. For Morrell, a win would catapult him into the upper echelon of the sport, proving that he is not just a rising star but a legitimate force to be reckoned with at the highest level. The fight will headline a stacked card at the T-Mobile Arena, promising an electrifying night of action for boxing fans. With all eyes on this main event, the anticipation is at a fever pitch. Both men are supremely confident, both believe in their skills, and both are convinced that they will walk out of the ring victorious. The main theme right now for this fight is that you're the one with experience. He has a deep amateur pedigree, but it's you who has the experience. Do you see this fight that way, or do you see it as just another opponent? I mean, I don't really see amateur experience as anything significant. This isn't an amateur fight, this is professional. This is a championship fight, 12 rounds. So, people might say there's an advantage, but at the end of the day, it's all about what happens in the ring. As the final days of build-up unfold, the excitement continues to mount. The talking is almost over, and soon, the only thing that will matter is what happens inside those ropes. When the bell rings, all the predictions, all the trash talk, and all the speculation will fade into the background. What will remain is two fighters, each driven by an unbreakable will to win, standing toe-to-toe in a battle for supremacy. This fight isn't just a moment in their careers, it's a defining chapter. And when the dust settles, only one man will be left standing, his legacy forever changed by what transpires in that ring. The war between David Benavidez and David Morrel Jr. is upon us, and the boxing world will be watching. When the gloves are laced and the first punch is thrown, history will be made. The central theme surrounding this fight is experience, who has it, and how much it will matter once they step into the ring. On paper, David Morrel Jr. has an extensive amateur background, a pedigree that many believe gives him an edge in technical skill and adaptability. But David Benavidez isn't buying it. I mean, I don't really see amateur experience as anything significant. This isn't an amateur fight, this is professional. This is a championship fight, 12 rounds. So, people might say there's an advantage, but at the end of the day, it's all about what happens in the ring. Benavidez's words make it clear, he sees this as just another fight, another chance to prove why he's one of the most feared men in the division. But for Morrel, this is more than just another fight. It's his moment to shine, to announce himself as a legitimate threat to the sport's biggest names. He's not just here to compete, he's here to take over. Both men have made their intentions clear. They're not coming to outpoint their opponent, they're coming to dominate, to break the other fighter's will. Benavidez has promised to deliver a statement performance, one that leaves no doubt about his superiority. Morrel, on the other hand, believes this is his moment to silence the doubters and shock the world. With tensions at an all-time high, one thing is certain: when the bell rings, the talking stops, and the punches start flying. This is a fight where one mistake, one lapse in concentration, could change everything. Both fighters have promised a knockout, but the only certainty is that fans are in for an unforgettable war inside the ring. Adding another layer to the pre-fight drama, Jose Benavidez Sr. has stirred controversy by claiming that Caleb Plant is a better fighter than David Morrel. While this might seem like just another pre-fight opinion, many see it as a calculated move, a psychological tactic to undermine Morrel and shift the narrative in Benavidez's favor. Let's break it down. Caleb Plant is undeniably a skilled boxer. His movement, jab, and counterpunching abilities have earned him respect in the sport. But does that necessarily make him a better fighter than Morrel? That's highly debatable. Plant has been tested against elite competition, but his biggest fights have exposed weaknesses. When he faced Canelo Alvarez, he was systematically broken down and stopped in the 11th round. And while he rebounded with a highlight reel knockout against Anthony Dirrell, his fight against Benavidez was one-sided, with Benavidez imposing his will and dominating the later rounds. Comparing Plant to Morrel is tricky because their styles are different. Plant relies on movement and defense, whereas Morrel is more aggressive, with sharper offensive instincts and a killer instinct that has seen him dismantle opponents early. To say Plant is the better fighter seems like an attempt to downplay Morrel's threat. Jose Sr. also questioned whether Morrel should have taken a slower path to this fight. He suggested that fighting seasoned veterans like Demetrius Andrade, Anthony Dirrell, or David Lemieux would have better prepared Morrel for the challenge ahead. On paper, this argument makes sense. Fighters typically gain experience by gradually stepping up in competition. But this perspective ignores two key facts. First, the fighters Jose Sr. mentioned haven't exactly been lining up to face Morrel. Andrade has spent years bouncing between weight classes without landing major fights. Dirrell is past his prime and largely inactive. And Lemieux, while a solid puncher in his day, is no longer a relevant name in the division. The idea that Morrel should have fought these men before taking on Benavidez assumes those fights were ever realistic options. Second, and perhaps more importantly, Benavidez himself didn't take the hardest road to the top. His early career featured solid, but not elite, competition, fighters like Ronald Gavril and Julian Love. Yet, no one questioned whether Benavidez was ready for bigger challenges. So why is Morrel being held to a different standard? The reality is, both men are stepping into dangerous territory. If Benavidez wins, it solidifies his status as one of the top names in the sport and potentially sets up megafights against light heavyweight champions like Dmitry Bivol or Artur Beterbiev. A loss, however, would raise serious doubts about his ability to handle a younger, faster, more technical opponent. For Morrel, the stakes are just as high. A victory would catapult him into boxing's elite, proving that he's not just a hyped prospect but a real threat to the division's top fighters. It would also silence critics who claim he lacks the experience to compete at this level. Come fight night, all the speculation, analysis, and mind games will mean nothing. The only thing that will matter is what happens inside the ring. This is more than just a battle between two undefeated fighters. It's a fight for respect, for legacy, and for the future of the super middleweight division. David Benavidez and David Morrell Jr. are ready for war. The only question now is, who will walk away victorious? No matter what happens, one thing is guaranteed: when the final bell rings, the boxing world will be talking about this fight for a long time to come. Okay guys, for the best updates on boxing news, moments, events, and actions, subscribe to Boxing Is Here and turn on notifications to never miss out on quality content, and check out our other videos. Until next time, peace out.